It's your favorite YouTube dealer. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. We have been blessed lately with weekly drops from Ren. This one is called Lost All Faith. I'm excited to dive into this. Hopefully I sound all right. I've been sick the last couple of days. My sinuses have been crazy, sleeping on and off and everything like that. But I need some Ren to get my day going again. So let's dive in. Let's see what this man was cooking with.
Mate, I'm in a bit of a rush right now. You're a sick guy? Thanks, mate. You're a sick boy. I've got to get out of this train, mate. I'm really sorry. I'm talking to you, man. Hey, can I get a quick picture, mate? Nah, mate, I've got to go, mate.
I would assume that he comes across this every so often. The people that don't understand and will just literally keep pushing and pushing and pushing instead of just acknowledging and respecting the fact that you got to go do something. There's some wild people out there. I'm luckily I don't deal with anything like this. I'm not a big enough YouTuber. I'm not a big enough in music, nothing like that. But there's people that are like this that you just come across and become friends with that don't understand. Yo, I'm busy right now, and they yo, this man's probably been through it.
Cheeky little picture, but I've really got to go, mate. I'm sorry, mate. Alright, fine, quickly. I knew it was you. Oi, I'm a charming fella. I like drinking cans of Stella. See, I'm living for the weekend. Bag kebabs and salmonella. Cinderella story rags to riches, minute full propeller. I'm Nigella Lawson stacking mozzarella. Only joking, I'm an intro.
Okay, I like that. For some reason, I know who Nigella Lawson. I think that's who he said, right? She's like a TV cook or something. I don't even know why I know that. I don't even know. I must have watched her or something at some point. Sometimes I like watching some of the cooking stuff on TV, and it just makes me extremely hungry. And then I go eat some garbage food that's nothing like what they're cooking on any of these shows or YouTube channels or anything like that. But anyways, I like this. Okay, I like the way that he's going in. The beat is fire. The way that he's riding the beat is dope. The way that he's using his voice is a little bit outside of the norm in some of his songs, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Alright, fine, quickly. I knew it was you. Oi, I'm a charming fella. I like drinking cans of Stella. See, I'm living for the weekend. Bag kebabs and salmonella. Cinderella story rags to riches, minute full propeller. I'm Nigella Lawson stacking mozzarella. Only joking, I'm an introvert. Alone inside my room because my insides hurt. I contemplate existence with consistency in my polo shirt. And
I like that. I'm an introvert because my insides are, see, that's the thing that's crazy is you don't realize that there's a lot of times that a lot of these artists, people that do YouTube, stuff like that, like a lot of us are introverts. You would just assume that we're not because we get in front of a camera and we do certain things. And you're just like, oh, well, these people go out and not at all. I feel like I'm a little mix of both. Like there's times where I can go to New York City and I like being around all the people that are outside. I like walking amongst people. I like interacting with people. I do enjoy that. But I like to come home and be by myself and decompress. And, you know, there's a lot of days where I feel like I just want to be right here. I don't want people bothering me. I don't want all the, I just need me time, a lot of me time. And I guess that's probably where the introvert side of me comes in. But yeah, the switch up from what he was just doing, the Cinderella story, rags, this part into the introvert part, I like the switch of delivery.
the riches, minute full propeller. I'm Nigella Lawson stacking mozzarella. Only joking, I'm an introvert. Alone inside my room because my insides hurt. I contemplate existence with consistency in my polo shirt. Then reassert my confidence with compliments I don't deserve. I calm my nerves by plotting the day that I might leave this earth.
I would argue that you deserve those compliments, though. Because he says something like, I reassert my confidence with compliments I don't deserve. But I get that feeling, though, right? Like, people compliment me on certain things at times, and you don't really, it's tough. I don't know if that's like an introvert thing or not, but I'm not good with compliments. Like, it's just like, okay, cool, thanks, appreciate it, you know, but I don't know. I don't do well with comments. But then there's other times where I will think about those comments, and it does kind of, as he says, reassert my confidence, does kind of boost me up. But in the moment, a lot of times those compliments it's tough for me to take in because I'm just like, no, you're probably pretty cool yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all the same, man. Like, you know, so it's a weird back and forth with me with a lot of this stuff.
But then with compliments I don't deserve. I calm my nerves by plotting the day that I might leave this earth. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield.
Woo! Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield. That's something that you say, like, this how you know that Ren has dealt with a lot of shit in his life, because that's where that's coming from. When you've dealt with pain for so much in your life, when you've been through so much different shit and stuff like that's such a real bar. It's my shepherd, my sword, and my shield. So it's my defense, my offense, and just overall my shepherd. Like that's some real shit. That is some real shit. I can respect that. Because it's almost like You know, like I don't know. I don't like to see. This is one of those things. But I don't like to put myself in those positions and say, "Oh, I've been through a lot too." Like I'd rather focus on what other people have been through and stuff. But I had a bar in one of my songs that talked about the fact like where my dad passed away when I was 4, and from then until I was like a teenager, I'd been to multiple funerals, and I was like, you know, I learned about death and pain and stuff before I even understood life and happiness. You know what I'm saying? So that line kind of hits where I can understand that the whole my shepherd, my sword, and my shield. It truly does become that.
I lift up my eyes to the hills. Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield. I find my refuge in patience and pills. A patient is patiently waiting for help. I don't ever seem to feel well. Can anybody save me from myself? There's blood on the leaves where I fell. Coming down. Burn the border, sons and daughters, law and order. Crave disorder, praise my selfish ways of
Okay, the way that he's doing this hook is dope, but the mixing on it brings it to that next level.
praise my selfish ways of come too late. I've lost my faith, I've lost my faith. You've awoke a beast, I'm a geezer on the streets. Mona Lisa, this is art, make her Mona Lisa, she needs mommy. Eeny, meeny, miny, Mohammed.
Yeah, my man be saying some wild stuff. I like to play with the Mona Lisa and the art, but I ain't expect him to say. I ain't expect him to go there with that.
You've awoke a beast, I'm a geezer on the streets. Mona Lisa, this is art, make her Mona Lisa, she needs mommy. Eeny, meeny, miny, Mohammed, Abi Ali. Pleased to meet you, mate, who's the G? Not me, an irregular guy. Halitosis with psychosis, omens etched in my mind. Overdosed on pills and potions, a collection of mine. Split a Valium with a Zanny and I mix it with wine. Hey, pull yourself together, mate. Pull your socks up, stand up straight. Look at you, you're such a mug. God, you're such a fucking stain. Honestly, I wouldn't be seen dead with you in public. Depressed and disorderly, it's like you fucking love it. Mug. Maybe you're right, maybe it's friend. Do it again and again and again.
Oh, I like the way he switched up into that. Depressed and disordered, maybe you love it, then maybe he's right, maybe it's rent. Ooh, okay, I like this. My man been blessing us with a lot of really, really dope tracks, to be honest with you.
Mix it with wine. Hey, pull yourself together, mate. Pull your socks up, stand up straight. Look at you, you're such a mug. God, you're such a fucking stain. Honestly, I wouldn't be seen dead with you in public. Depressed and disorderly, it's like you fucking love it.
That is something that people will say too, right? Like, I like that he took on that voice. It's like he's speaking, you know, someone saying it to him, or it just in general, even the people that, you know, pull up your bootstraps, get your shit together, like stop being so depressed, stop being, you know what I'm saying? It's like you love being that way, and that's not necessarily true. But I like how he comes in and goes, maybe he's right, maybe it's Ren, maybe. Ooh, I really enjoy the way that he comes in off of this. But just speaking on the part that comes before that part that I really, really like. This is something that certain people feel like, right? And I mean, I can understand to an extent, right? Like, I do believe in tough love at times. I do believe that there's some people that kind of get enveloped in their, I don't want to say depression, because at times, like, it's like, it could be a chemical thing. It could, like, there's a lot of different reasons why somebody can feel what you would call depressed. You know, like, I feel like I've been down, but I never like to say depressed, because again, I don't like to include myself in a lot of this stuff. I always feel like, you know, people are probably worse off than me. So why would I say that I'm depressed? Why would I say that I'm, you know, and I don't, maybe that's a self-sabotage, to be honest with you, to not really acknowledge the way that I feel sometimes, or to allow myself to put myself in certain brackets because I feel like other people have it worse, so why am I complaining, type of thing. But that's almost what this is, just from somebody else saying it to you, right? Like, it's almost like you're obsessed with being disorderly and depressed and all these other things. And there are times where people do become, I was going to say obsessed, but not obsessed. They become, like, that becomes their identity, right? Like, they go through something, and instead of finding a way to build themselves out of it, they let it become their identity. And it's almost like they are kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's I wouldn't want to say that they like being that way, but that just becomes so familiar to them that they don't allow themselves to escape, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, obviously, again, like I said, there's some reasons, like chemical imbalances and different things like that, where, like, it's not within your realm of helping. But there are times where you get depressed over a situation, and you kind of, is the word ruminate? You kind of just like just stew in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't work your way out. You don't try to get yourself out of it. You let yourself sit in this certain mindset, and it's something that you can't allow to happen. But at the same time, people that approach it like this, who just tell you that, oh, you just like being like that, you just like that kind of stuff is I really don't like when people do that to others, right? It's just something that you yourself have to self-reflect on and try to understand if that's what you're doing, or you know what I mean, and get it together yourself. But there are people that will just look at you and be like, I don't have the patience, I don't have the time, I just don't give a shit.
Together, mate, pull your socks up, stand up straight. Look at you, you're such a mug, God, you're such a fucking stain. Honestly, I wouldn't be seen dead with you in public. Depressed and disorderly, it's like you fucking love it. Mug. Maybe you're right, maybe it's friend. Do it again and again and again. Maybe I'm high, maybe I'm meant to live in a cycle of anti-survival like man. In a prism like Ben, shot the iris of the land. Make believe and play pretend, God's my witness at the end.
I like how he said, maybe I'm meant to live in a state of anti-survival. Which is, it's almost like what I was just, right? Like you kind of ruminate in it and it becomes your identity, and you play through this over and over, and you can kind of look at it as anti-survival, right? Like instead of, see, that's, I like this. This is dope. I really want to go back because honestly, all the lyrics aside and everything we're talking about aside, I just like the way that he rolls into it though. Maybe he's right, maybe he's a friend, maybe that shit is just, that's probably one of my favorite things that he's dropped in a while.
In public, depressed and disorderly, it's like you fucking love it. Mug. Maybe you're right, maybe it's friend. Do it again and again and again. Maybe I'm high, maybe I'm meant to live in a cycle of anti-survival like man. In a prism like Ben, shot the iris of the land. Make believe and play pretend, God's my witness at the end. With God as my witness, I walk through the valley of the shadow of sickness. I fear no evil, I need no forgiveness. Deliver me from temptation, he never listens. I don't ever seem to feel well. Can anybody save me from myself?
This part is so fire, the way that he rolls into this as well. Can anybody save me from myself? I like that. Now somebody like, let's just say Ren in his situation, it's a tough situation. He's somebody, it's not like he's ruminating in the way that he feels, and I'm hoping that that's the right word, because I feel like it is. I just haven't used that word like in a long time, if ever. Really, it just doesn't come up often, but it seems like that's the word that I'm looking for. But he had dealt with his sickness, and he still is, but dealt with it without any understanding of it for so many years, to the point where he said that at a certain age he felt like he wasn't even going to be alive for a couple more years. Like he was convinced that it was going to be over. And not any of us really can understand what that does to you mentally and what it's like to live in that state of mind and in that state of sickness for as many years as he did without ever having anyone understand it, and having doctors give you all these different random diagnoses and put you on different medications that really don't do anything and have side effects. And like, there's not really many people out there that can truly understand where that comes from, that feeling, that mental state that it puts you in, and how to build out of it. And I would give him a lot of props for doing everything that he's done to this point, but part of that probably still sits with him, and that's where songs like this, I feel like, come from. Now, I could be wrong. I've not spoken to him. He's not said this to me. This is just me speculating based on some of the music that we react to and that we hear and so on. But it seems like it's and it's a non-stop, it's a never-ending battle is what I'm looking for, because I mean, he is still dealing with it, even though he's getting some treatment and some of it is obviously helping here and there and stuff. It's not like it's just over with because they determined what it is, but at least now he has some peace of mind of at least understanding it. And I assume that even with that comes some, I don't want to say regret because it's not his fault, but the thought that, if you would have caught this early in the first couple of weeks to the first month or whatever, it can almost be reversed, if not, you know what I'm saying, with certain medications, and to have it have not been figured out for so long and it be now a permanent part of your life and something that you're going to constantly be trying to have this battle with and figure out ways of trying to overcome it and eliminate some of the long-term effects that have happened from not knowing for so long, and limit the things that are happening now. And it's just something that not a lot of people can really, really, truly relate to. We can all try to from the outside looking in, but it's not something that all of us can really say that we've ever gone through, right? Like, we can say that we've gone through some of the effects that he's had happen to him, depression, different stuff like that, but on different levels and through different reasons, right? So it's really interesting, right? As humans, we're all depressed at times, we're all this, we're all that at times, but the way that we get there and stuff, and the experiences that get us there, and what we take from it, and what it does to us, is all very unique from person to person, because it's always going to be a little bit different.
Land, make believe and play pretend, God's my witness at the end. With God as my witness, I walk through the valley of the shadow of sickness. I fear no evil, I need no forgiveness. Deliver me from temptation, he never listens. I don't ever seem to feel well. Can anybody save me from myself? There's blood on the leaves where I fell, coming down. Burn the border, sons and daughters, law and order. Brave disorder, praise Messiah. days have come too late. I've lost my faith. I've lost my
It's a really well put together song, but it's powerful at the same time. The whole "I've lost all faith. Can anybody save me from myself?" You know, because I can't stop feeling unwell, and some of that I would guess again is coming from the whole like save me from myself, because I can't get out of my head. I can't get out of these thoughts because of the fact that I'm always unwell, because I've been through so much shit and it's done so much to me over these years. You know what I'm saying? And I've lost all faith. And I don't, you know, again, I assume that this has to be somewhat personal. Some of it is also maybe just making some music that people can relate to, but I don't believe that Ren ever just makes music to make music. There always seems to be a purpose behind it. Well, you know, sometimes he's having some fun with tracks, so on and so forth. But stuff like this, I think, all comes from somewhere inside. And maybe in the moment that he's making it, he feels this way. Maybe sometimes he's not, and he's relating to feelings that he's had in the past or feelings that he knows that he goes through every so often. But it's coming from somewhere. So, I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth and say, this is what it is. He lost all faith because of this or that. But again, you know, I like to try to speculate and get an understanding of the artists that we're reacting to and why they're saying what they're saying.
Could you be the one? Yeah, I know I wanna. Could you be the one? Yeah, I know I wanna. Could you be the one? Good. Could you be the one? Yeah, I know I wanna. Could you be the one? Yeah, I know I wanna. Could you be the one? Yeah, I know I wanna. Could you be the one? Could you be the one? I lift up my eyes to the hill. Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield. I find my refuge in patience and pills. Could you be the one?
Whew. Like you said, I find my refuge in patience and pills. My refuge from everything going on, from the mental state that I'm in. A lot of times, you know, when he's saying save him from himself, it's all coming mentally, from a mental standpoint. That would be my take on it at the very least. And I want to keep saying that because I don't want to make it seem like I'm putting words in someone's mouth or saying this is what it is, because I don't 100% know, obviously. But just from my take of listening to the music and you know, it's something that I think a lot of people can relate to. And I think that's why his music continues to do really, really well. And he continues to grow this, cult following, I guess I would say. Not, you know, not like in a bad way, because cult sounds like a horrible thing to say. But I think that he's growing a group of people that will follow him throughout the entirety of his career. It's not just going to be for a short little while because he made a couple dope songs that were catchy and stuff like that. It's people that truly can relate to him. Similar to how I feel NF has a very strong cult following, right? Because he's talked about a lot of things that are very relatable to people, that people have been through themselves, and they can truly understand where he's coming from when he says a lot of the stuff that he says in his music. And I think that's the same thing for Ren. Obviously, they're very different artists. They're their own artists. There's nothing similar about them in that sense. I'm not trying to say anything like that, but as far as being very real in their music, and that's why I got a lot of respect for Ren. That's also why I got a lot of respect for NF, and I like listening to his music too, because there are things where they drop and they say stuff, and although I may not have been through the same experience as him, I can relate to some of the things that he's dealt with along the way in other aspects, and from my own perspective and from my own experiences and things that have happened to me. And I think that's the same for a lot of you guys out there, and that's why we're all here. That's why we're listening. That's why we're checking this out. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Sometimes I talk a little bit too much. Today was probably one of those days, and hopefully I made sense. Sometimes I get to the end of these videos and I'm like, man, I went in on a lot of different topics, and I feel like I stumbled through certain ideas and thoughts and stuff like that, but hopefully it was coherent enough that it made sense. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Looking forward to more from Ren. I love that he's been dropping weekly. It's been a really, really good time. And it's very helpful to listen to some music that you enjoy and that you could relate with. So appreciate you guys. I will catch you in the next one, homies.
I don't believe in the future, so I just look to my past life. I take all the lessons I've learned and then I create me a moment you can't write. It's different than dreams, it's different than wishing for shit that you see. It's something you build, you gotta shed tears, and if you gon' live it, accept that you'll bleed. This ain't a drill, that's just a beat. This shit is real, cause that's what you need. This is the pill, that is the seat. Take you a moment before you concede. I got a lot of shit waiting on change, but every day wake up and do it the same. I'm sick of my mind, it's out of control. I thought it was fine, but that was a phase. I mean, it's like, I got a chance, why would I blow it? It's all that I have.